Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Healthcare Connector. I am Dr. Dion Butler. Happy to be here, amplifying the voice of another woman of color in healthcare. So y'all know we don't beat around the bush. We just gonna jump right in. Today I have Kaya. Kaya, tell the audience like all the good stuff, all the things they need to know about you, what you're working on right now, that kind of stuff.
Okay. My name is Kaya Daly. I am a licensed social worker. Many years. I'm a mom. I live in the New Jersey, Philadelphia, Delaware area, and I am working on launching my private practice. I'm actually really close now. By May 14th, I will be officially launched. But I'm already starting to kind of get clients and get connected. So yeah, I'm really, really excited.
Oh, okay. So I want to hear all about, tell us more about the private practice, what's the name of it? Is there a certain demographic that you are hoping to serve? That kind of stuff. And then after that, we're going to talk about the journey to do that.
Sure. So yeah, the name is For Us Therapy, and I for many years have been a therapist, and I have found that intentionally and unintentionally, most of my clients that I serve have been people that look like me, black, brown
Mm-hmm.
people. Just sort of naturally, I think we look for people that sort of are reflections of ourselves. So my practice is geared towards working with people of color and specifically people who identify as African descent.
Okay, and that is so important. I just I feel like representation matters, but especially when you're talking about mental health, behavioral health, being able to open up to someone that looks like you, may have some of the same like lived experiences, where like there doesn't have to be any pretenses. You can just go in there and be yourself. So that is so important, and I feel like commodity ain't the right word, but like you all are hot right now, right? Because people are starting to think about mental health, talk about it more, and us in the community want to see a therapist, a social worker, or whatever, just like that looks like us. So you're gonna be
Yeah,
booked and busy,
absolutely.
right?
Right, right. I feel that I definitely have always felt like being a therapist, being a licensed social worker served me when wherever I've been, because I've worked domestically, and I think, I've worked internationally too, and I've always been able to work, always been able to help people. But now, you're right, more than ever, I feel like there's definitely a big need and more awareness around behavioral health, mental health issues.
Yeah, so let's talk about what that journey has been like to start the practice. Because you're right, like you're in the midst of it right now, just about to launch. Um, and I always like to, pick women's brains to see what made you, take this step out on faith and say, okay, now I'm about to start my own practice. Like I'm the expert. I know my value. It's time for me to be the owner of this thing.
That's such a good question, and it's so funny because as I always kind of for many years felt like I'd work for other people. Like I didn't really
Mm-hmm.
feel like I had like the business mind,
Mm-hmm.
or I really was a little bit intimidated about starting my own private practice and kind of all that would entail. But my late father, who Ivan Hazard, who was also MSW, had this dream many years ago, and I got licensed way before him. He never actually was able to get his license before he passed, but he had a dream of opening a practice, and he always talked about bringing me on board. Um,
Mm,
so it's a little bit bittersweet. I mean, it's like it really means a lot more than just me opening this practice, because I feel like also my dad's somewhere watching
yes.
and really proud. And I have two little ones. So I know it's important to, especially for Black people in this country who haven't been given the same financial opportunities and deprived of so many opportunities historically, to be able to build our own wealth. And I know I have something in my profession that I can share
Mm-hmm.
and help other people. And I want something for myself. I want something that I can pass on to my children. And I know there's a need, like you said, for more people like us to be doing it, and then also having in this big push to telehealth as a result of the
Mm-hmm.
pandemic has made this sort of come to realization for me, made it much more easy because my practice is going to be 100% virtual.
Okay.
Um, so I don't know if I would still be wanting to do it if I had to go into an office and do this, but being able to do it virtually as, a person who's really busy, has children, I'm also a
Mm-hmm.
mom, and I also have, other jobs and other
Mm-hmm.
responsibilities, has made this a reality, and it's very exciting.
I love it. So, just to piggyback off one thing you said when you first started talking about, you didn't know if you was ever going to have this business mindset, and so I want to talk about that part because I was on social media. I don't remember which day, not too long ago, in the last few days, I had posted that they don't teach us anything about business and and to me, it doesn't matter like what healthcare professional track that you're on, they don't teach you how to run a business. It's like they're not preparing you to do that. So, in this journey that you've been on, what's a lesson or like a challenge, something that you had to learn, and how did you do that?
Uh, I really feel like you're right. First of all, I didn't really even learn financial literacy from my family, my parents, like little things like that. That's I think important that I've had to sort of start learning as I've thought about structuring my business. I really have sort of reached out to and used social media, found other clinicians of color that are doing this work. There are a lot of great resources just on Facebook, on Instagram. So one group on Facebook I've learned a lot. And just following the threads, following the conversations. I've also reached out and identified another colleague in the field who's experienced, who's run her own business for many years, another social worker, and used her to consult.
Mm-hmm.
And she's helped me. So through those processes, I feel like I've gotten all the information I needed to at least get started. I know I have a
Mm-hmm.
lot more to learn, which is kind of exciting because I think I was at a point in my career where I've been doing it so long that I think I know how to do my job pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
Although,
Mm-hmm.
you always want to be learning, but this is completely new. So I think my growth potential in something new is really sort of like reinvigorating for me, and I feel very excited.
I am just proud of you for getting started because I talk to a lot of women, coach a lot of women through the coaching program, and that is like the hardest step just to get them to start. Whether it is filing the paperwork for the business, being visible on social media or like LinkedIn, getting started is the hard part. Was there what was like the defining moment when you were like no more, I know I'm going to do this, like it was there something that like gave you the push to say, okay, I'm getting started with this now, I can't stay in this place any longer, or so, and if there wasn't, then what advice would you give to someone, another social worker, another practitioner who's like stuck in this point and they know they want to do it but they just can't get started?
That's a really good question. I think for me, joining these groups on Facebook and listening to other clinicians do it and learning from them, but also for myself, I kind of wanted to dip my foot out there in the pool a little bit. So I've been contracting, which I started doing at the end of last year, contracting, and I decided to start contracting
Mm-hmm.
for another company, which is still like working for yourself, but you're working
Yes.
under someone else's structure and you get paid as an independent provider. I did that first, so I contract and I structured my time doing the contract work when I would like to have my private practice. So that kind
Mm.
of built my confidence that I was able, okay, I'm working and I've been contracting for many months now,
Mm-hmm.
successfully, really busy in my contract work, which is with college students and is on a telehealth platform.
Mm-hmm.
And like I mentioned to you, the students get to go on and make their own appointments. And
Yeah.
99% of my students are black. So, they just, and there's we all have our profiles out there. So obviously they can see that there's
Mm-hmm.
a, black therapist and they make the
Mm-hmm.
appointments. And I've really actually enjoyed working with the population. And it's going to be kind of hard for me to jump into my private practice and leave some of these students that I really enjoy working with. But doing that helped me gain the confidence to know that this is something that I can do,
Mm-hmm.
something that I have the bandwidth to do, like just, emotionally and energy and, spiritually, all those ways you have to know that you can take on any task. So I think, yeah, I kind of set myself up to see that I can I'm in a position and I can handle taking on a private practice and working for
Mm-hmm.
myself,
I think
if that
that's
makes
so,
sense.
it does. And I think it makes perfect sense. Like you tried it out some, especially like with the contract work. A lot of times now on social media or like in hearing people talking, it's like all or nothing. Either I am going to work for someone else or I'm going to leave my job, my 9 to 5, and there's like no in between. So I'm
Hmm.
glad that you here because you're in the in between, and that's okay. Like if you want to have your practice and still work for a company or try contracting first to kind of get that experience, no, that's fine. So I think that's great that you did that because it shows you that you could do it,
Right,
and that there's
exactly.
more than one path to ownership and and having your own practice.
Right, absolutely.
What are you most proud of in your career and in your like in starting this business? What are you most proud of right now?
I think I'm really proud of just like getting this far in my career, and I'm grateful for the opportunities that I've had,
Hmm.
with this career. Um, working here, I lived in Japan for 3 years, and I worked
Wow.
on a small Navy-based installation with
Hmm.
military members, dependents, Japanese locals, and wherever I've been able to find gainful employment for
Hmm.
myself, which has really, sustained me personally, professionally, but also made an impact. And one of the when I left Japan after like 3 years being there, one of my colleagues gave me this Maya Angelou quote that she said reminded her of me. And the quote is something to the effect of people won't remember what you do, but they remember how you made them feel. And,
Hmm.
in this work, I always tell people, I always go in with a mind of like curiosity and humility. And I think that's why I've been able to really make these impactful therapeutic relationships. And so I think I'm proud of the fact that people tell me that they feel really safe when they come and
Yeah.
talk to me, that they feel really like they can open up. And yeah, for all of the people who, still like I still get clients that look
Hmm.
for me on social media, and I try to make my stuff private to
Hmm.
avoid some of that. But I've gotten so many like amazing messages of how much they've made progress. And one client said without me, he wouldn't be where he is in his life, and he's accomplished so much. And this is the next felon,
Hmm.
um, a returning citizen, and so I'm proud of that. I'm proud that no matter how long, how much time I've had with the people that I've worked with, I can see evidence of like the impact, through their
Hmm.
lives, through them, getting to a place where they have a better quality of life. Because that's all I want in like with any of these relationships. That if I can make a little difference at all, if you,
Yeah.
feel even a little bit better, then I feel like, I've done something, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that quote and I love that you said that you're just kind of trying to create a safe space for people because I feel like, that's what most people want. They just want a safe space to live, to work, for to someone to talk to. Again, I think I mentioned this early in the thing, someone that looks like them that I can be myself and my authentic self with and tell my problems to. So I think it's amazing that you're creating those safe spaces and it is so needed, and I'm excited to see how many more safe spaces you're going to be able to create as you do this practice. What is the biggest challenge facing you right now in the career and launching the business, and how do you think you're going to address that challenge?
Yeah, I think balance is the biggest challenge, because like I mentioned, I am still working full time. I have children, I have a relationship. I'm still a person with
A
different
life.
parts of my life, and
Yeah.
finding and not going completely, because I can sort of get hyper focused on things
Yes.
that I'm passionate about. So finding balance and figuring out how to do all the things I want to do professionally while not neglecting other parts of my life that are really important.
Hmm.
And yeah, so I know that'll be an ongoing struggle, because
Hmm.
I also I've had a lot of opportunities, like you giving me the
Hmm.
opportunity to come on your podcast, which is awesome.
Hmm.
I see all the
Yeah.
awesome things that you're doing, and I'm like, let me reach out to Dion,
Yeah.
and not saying yes to everything, because I want to say yes to everything, but I also know that that's not realistic, and that's not gonna, burnout is a potential if you overdo it. So I think just
Hmm.
trying to find that balance is going to be
Yeah.
sort of an ongoing practice for me.
Yes, definitely. I can, and I'll say that, one thing that I've had to learn, because balance has always been at the forefront in my mind, because I am a workaholic. And that is why, one of the reasons why I had to leave corporate, because I just work entirely too much. And so trying to find that balance, but it's also been important, especially in doing the entrepreneurship part that I'll tell you to do, is also to give yourself some grace, because
Hmm.
there'll be some days where there aren't no balance. There'll be a day where you worked a little bit too much, or there'll be a day where where you choose to, like, I'm just gonna spend all day with my kids, and work ain't getting nothing. And just no matter, and just in those situations, just always remembering we're trying to do the best we can, and you need to give yourself some grace in trying to find that balance as well, because it's hard. Like,
I
um,
appreciate that. Yeah.
what motivates you to get up in the morning and go to work? And I like to ask this question of the social workers and the therapists, because when you all are working with people, you're hearing all of their stuff, and so it's just, I'm always like thinking, like, how do you still show up every day when you're working with people and helping them go through their problems and work through things, and not take on all of that, and still get up every day and do it again?
That's a really good question. Two words came to mind when you were asking me that question, and the words were gratitude, and not exactly like the same type of word, but my children. So
Mm-hmm.
I think that I feel like I've been blessed. I think I'm blessed to have been able to get my master's degree, to be licensed, and I think that um, I'm grateful to be able to do this work, to be able to live this life and do it on my own. I've been through a lot in my life, but I'm happy to be in a place that I don't have to depend on anybody. I take care of
Mm-hmm.
myself. I take care of my children, um, and a lot of that is because of my work. And because I came from a single mom that did it as well. My mom raised us. We had a
Mm.
good relationship with our dad, but my mom raised seven of us children all
Ooh.
by herself, and she worked.
Mm-hmm.
She got up and she did it every day. And
Mm-hmm.
she, was tired raising seven children, but she got up every single day. And I also like what I do most of the time. I really,
Mm-hmm.
was working last night, and in this field you can get so caught up in sort of like the minutia of it, and just,
Mm-hmm.
doing like the clinical things when you're in session. And last night, one of my clients was talking about how some things that I said were so helpful. Actually, both of my clients that I saw last night were bringing up things that I taught them in session that really stuck with them and that were helpful. So I'm constantly reminded that I'm helping people too, which is
Yes.
validating and like reinforces. And
Mm-hmm.
I always tell my clients, as much as you might say I'm helping you, I feel like I get just as much, if not more, from like being able to do this work with you guys, and each session. So hopefully that answered the question.
No, it does. I love that you said, you talked about having that sense of gratitude, because that's so important. If this Kaya could go back to 16-year-old Kaya and give her a piece of advice, what would it be?
Wow. 16-year-old Kaya. I think if I was gonna go back to 16-year-old Kaya,
Mm-hmm.
it would be sort of just don't forget the things that you want to do, right? Don't get sort
Mm.
of distracted
Yeah.
by all the distractions that are out there. Like, trust yourself,
Mm-hmm.
figure out what you want to do and like stay the course. Like, I got there eventually.
Yeah.
Yeah, I figured it out. Didn't take me too long to figure out that I wanted to get a social work degree. And I've had people sort of in my life that have um, sort of led me on my path because I didn't always know. Like, my one of my best friends in
Mm.
college picked her degree, and then I was like, oh, that sounds good enough. I'll do that too, and I did
Mm-hmm.
that, and I was
Mm-hmm.
successful. And then after college, I thought I wanted to be a teacher, so I did a
Mm-hmm.
teaching fellowship for a year in Boston. And then I realized I didn't want to do that, and although I enjoyed it, I just knew that wasn't for me. And then one of my
Mm-hmm.
mom's friends said, when I was thinking about going to get a counseling degree, go back to Boston College and get your master's in social work. And I was like, okay, that sounds good enough. So I've had people sort of plant and like
Seeds.
help me
Yeah.
sort of figure out my
Mm-hmm.
way, and it's worked out for me. But I've kind of always, there were times when I definitely should have paid attention to my own sort of intuition, my own volition. And I think
Mm-hmm.
that's what I would tell. Like, always trust yourself, always pay
Yeah.
attention, listen to that, your own voice, your
Yes.
internal monologue or
Mm-hmm.
compass, and pay attention to you first.
Okay. Well, what is something about you that most people don't know or would be surprised to know?
Um, I think people are surprised to know when I tell people that how introverted I am.
Mm-hmm.
That like I think that at my core I'm an introvert.
I would have never thought
People
that.
are exactly. People are usually really surprised.
Mm-hmm.
I love people, but I'm the kind of person that really values like close, like intimate one-on-one relationships, and really really still get anxious when I walk into a room full of people and avoid a lot of large crowds and social
Yeah.
gatherings. So I guess like the true introverted quality. Because I've
Yeah.
gone through life, and I'm almost 40 years old now, and now I know how to be socially, but it's
Mm-hmm.
not
I'm
really
the
by
same way.
design.
I'm the same way. I would much rather, like, you're never gonna walk in somewhere and like see me in the middle of the party or see me in the middle of the dance floor. If you even see me at the party, because I would much rather be I'd much rather be like at home at the small gathering versus out and about and mixing the people. Like, I still have to talk myself up before I do these podcast interviews, and so I understand that being introverted, definitely. Okay. I want to shift back to the business because that's what, we're here for. And I really want to make sure we started on that, and I want to end on that too. What is, what is different about you? Why should people book an appointment or come see Kaya?
So first of all, I think that people should come see me because I never want to make my clients feel like I'm the expert in the room. Like that
Mm.
first, like when I talk to you about humility, like
Mm-hmm.
I always do this work with an understanding that you are the expert on yourself, right? And
Mm-hmm.
the relationship is collaborative. So I value you in the room, more than me. You think you're coming in to get like therapy and treatment, but I value the client because you are the expert. I won't be able to do my
Yeah.
work without you being able to sort of tell me who you are, what your needs are, and
Mm-hmm.
really sort of the relationship has to be collaborative, and I
Mm-hmm.
value that, and I value what the client is bringing into the space. So I think that sort of is my mindset, and I think that gets
Mm-hmm.
me far in what I do, and I
Yes.
think that people feel that when they come in and they start working with me.
Yes, I love it. I'm glad that you said that. Is what makes you different, because I think a lot of times, myself included, whenever I've gone in to have an appointment with someone, just like going in there with the mindset, and I don't know if like we've been taught to believe this or like experience, but like you're going in there and that person just going to tell you what to do, or
Hmm.
like not feeling able that like you can open up to that person because again, like they're this expert, they know all of these things, and it's just little old me coming in here. So I think that's important. And again, I see how that is you creating a safe space and making it comfortable and open and inviting for people to come in and work with you. Okay, so before we go, tell us one more time, name of your business, where it's located, how we can get in touch with you, all of that good stuff.
So, my business is called For Us Therapy. And interpret that name as you
Mm-hmm.
will. It's a very
Yeah.
intentional sort of choice of a name. It is a
Mm-hmm.
virtual practice, but I am licensed in New Jersey, which is where I'll mainly be practicing. I'm also licensed in Pennsylvania, in Washington, D.C., and Ohio, but I think that most of my clients will probably naturally come from New Jersey since that's the state that I'm licensed in. You can find me on Psychology Today, Kaya Daily, LCSW. You can find me on Therapy Den. And yeah, those are probably the best ways. And I accept many insurances and self pay.
Okay.
So,
And are there specific services that you offer or specialties that you have?
yeah. So I am going to be mainly doing therapy, counseling, supervision. I'm also a certified
Mm,
supervisor there in the state of New
okay.
Jersey, and some consultation. If meaning like if anyone needs different, behavioral health consultation, consulting, I'll do that. Um, I just completely lost. What was the last question you asked?
So any services or specialties?
Okay,
You
yes.
can kind of say.
Specialties. I'm a psychodynamic therapist, which means I like to kind of work through the whole lifespan, understand the person,
Mm,
all the relationships, all the experiences that they have when they come in and start working with me, and help them understand how those things impact sort of where they are today. I am trained in cognitive behavioral therapy, attachment based therapy, um, motivational interviewing, and solution focused brief therapy interventions,
mhm.
just to name sort of the main sort of modalities that I use in practice.
Okay, okay, you all. So, if you are in the New Jersey area and you are looking for someone in behavioral health who operates from a place of humility, who is all about creating a safe space for you, then you definitely need to check out Kaya and For Us Therapy. I will make sure that all of her information, contact information, everything is down in the summary. I will be looking for this on May the 14th. So you better do some kind of launch post or whatever so we can tell everybody. I'm so excited for you. Always excited to see another woman of color step out and like recognize their expertise and go out there and monetize it. So congratulations.
Thank you, Dion. Thank you for having me. This was awesome and so much fun. I
Thank
have to come
you.
back. I got to come back with an update eventually.
Yes, yeah, like 6 months from now, I want to know how it is. Like, if you can fit me in your schedule, because by then, like I said, it may be booked and busy. I know when I was trying to find a therapist that was of color, everybody was booked up. So that's a good thing, though, because
That
I'm
is a
so
good thing.
happy to see that our community is like it is starting to be okay.
Yeah.
And the
Yes.
more get you a therapist, get there. Everybody, I always tell
Yes.
everybody, get a therapist, get a therapist, get a
Right.
therapist. We all need one.
Right.
So get you a therapist. If you in New Jersey, it's Kaya. And thank you all for being here. And we'll bring her back in 6 months to see how the practice is going and what she's learned.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much.
Okay, talk to y'all later. Bye.